It's time for more numbers. Here are 20 amazing powers of 10 to expand your mind. 10 to the first power. That number is 10. Any collection of 10 is a decade, but it is most often in years. The most understood meaning of multiplying by 10 is increasing it by an order of magnitude. 10 is the fifth composite number and the sum of the first three prime numbers. 10 to the second power. The result is 100. It is the basis of percentages, with 100% being a full amount. It's also the sum of the first 9 prime numbers, namely from 2 to 23. Finally, it is the age where a person becomes a centenarian. 10 to the third power, that's 1000. The C prefix for 1000 is kilo. However, in computing, it is more common for kilo to mean 1024. 997 is the largest prime number less than 1000, and 1009 is the smallest after 1000. 10 to the fourth power, 10,000 is sometimes called a myriad. Speaking of a myriad is an obsolete decimal metric prefix that's equal to 10,000 units. Also, myriad to the power of itself is 10 to the 40,000th power. The myriad square root is 100. 10 to the fifth power, 100,000 is 10 to the fifth power. 100,000 meters above the surface of the Earth is an altitude where space is defined to begin. In Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, and South Asia, 100,000 is called a lakh. 10 to the sixth power, a million seconds is equal to about 11.6 days, and $1 million in hundreds would weigh 22 pounds or 10 kilograms. The million is sometimes used as a metaphor for a very large number, or a hyperbole as an exaggeration. 10 to the seventh power, for an 8-digit cheap calculator. 10 million is the largest power of 10 to be representable for it. In South Asia, except for Sri Lanka, it is known as a crore. Hegno is an obsolete decimal metric prefix mentioning 10 million things. 10 to the eighth power, that's 100 million. Square rooting 100 million gives you 10,000. Doing it again would turn that into 100, and you can do it one more time to get 10. Also, it is the square of a myriad. Finally, it's the fourth power of 100. 10 to the ninth power. A billion seconds equal to about 31.7 years. A billion days ago, an ape-like creature called the Australopithecus roamed the African savannas. 1 billion meters is almost 3 times the distance from our home on Earth to the moon. 10 to the 12th power, that's a trillion. The surface of the human body houses roughly the same number of bacteria. A trillion seconds equals 31.7 thousand years. Around the time the rock painting tradition began in the Bhimbetka rock shelters in India. 10 to the 15th power. This is equal to a quadrillion. It is the lower bound to the total number of ants on Earth. The C prefix for a quadrillion is beta, but for computing, beta can mean 2 to the 50th power, or about 1.13 quadrillion. A quadrillion is also 1,000 trillion or a million billion. 10 to the 18th power. A quintillion is a billion squared. The C prefix for this is about 18.4 times a quintillion is the number of possible values for a 64-bit value. Also, about 43.3 times a quintillion is the number of combinations in a 3x3 Rubik's Cube. 10 to the 21st power. A sextillion is approximately the number of grains of sand on Earth. Around 6.67 times more than a sextillion is the number of Sudoku grids. Also, 70 times 10 to the 21st power is, as of 2003, the number of stars within the range of telescopes. 10 to the 24th power. A septillion is a trillion squared. The largest known power of 2 without a zero in decimal is about 77.4 times that. Meanwhile, the largest polydivisible number is about 3.61 septillion. About 2.83 septillion is the fifth Woodhull prime. 10 to the 27th power. An octillion is 10 to the 27th power. The C prefix for an octillion is rhonda. There are roughly 7 octillion atoms in the human body. On the long scale, an octillion is 1,000 quadrillion. An octillion is also 1,000 to the 9th power. 10 to the 30th power. An nonillion is called a million trillion trillion. The C prefix for a nonillion is peta, which represents a nonillion things. The number of bacterial cells on Earth has been estimated to be 5 nonillion. On the long scale, a nonillion is a quintillion. 10 to the 33rd power. A decillion on the long scale is 1,000 quintillion, or 1 quintillion. for as of 2023. For example, a decillion grams would be 1000 kilograms, 10 to the 63rd power. A vigintillion is the largest power of 1000 that we officially have an English name for. The next power of 1000 after that doesn't have a word in an official dictionary. On the long scale, it's known as 1000 decillion, 10 to the 100th power. A gogol is a number that is equal to 10 to the 100th power, named by Edward Kastner's nephew, Milton Serrata, in 1940. A gogol is approximately 70 factorial, with 69 factorial being the smallest factorial number under a gogol, 10 to the 10 to the 100th power. A gogolplex is 10 to the gogol. It was invented along with a gogol by a 9-year-old Milton Serrata in the same year as a gogol. By the way, it was first suggested that a gogolplex would be 1 followed by writing zeros until you get tired. Yeah, that would happen long before we get to a gogol zeros. But that's it. Thank you for watching. And if you like Dusk 1218's content, please subscribe to him for more videos.